The National Museum of American History doesn't have a single major exhibit dedicated to George Washington, or Thomas Jefferson, or Alexander Hamilton, or any of the founding fathers. Here's what it does have. Glorification of gender transition in exhibits meant for children, a sadomasochistic crotch harness, radical race politics, praise for illegal immigration, and woke propaganda of all kinds. Normal Americans are looking at this and saying, how did this happen?
Whose laptop?
National museums exist for a particular purpose. They're there to collect, curate, and transmit to future generations national heritage and culture, history. The Smithsonian is really 21 museums. And it's more than that. It's libraries, research halls. The National Zoo is the largest museum complex in the world. It takes in about 20 million visitors a year and an additional 20 million more through educational material. Congress annually appropriates $1.08 billion, billion with a B, for the Smithsonian. That accounts for 63% of the Smithsonian's funding. Like all national museums, and 9 of the 21 museums have the word national in it. If we're talking about the National Museum of American History, the original mission of this museum was, as Lyndon B. Johnson said, was to foster patriotism and knowledge of America. Today, it does the opposite. The entire leadership of the Smithsonian Institution is very woke. It's very committed to the misuse, I should say, of the Smithsonian Institution as an agent of political change. Monty Bunch has been the secretary of the Smithsonian Institution, that is the top honcho, since 2019. Upon becoming secretary of the Smithsonian, he tied the Smithsonian to the 1619 Project. In the 1619 Project has been rejected and decried by historians of both the left and the right. It's filled with inaccuracies. It's filled with intentional inaccuracies. It's meant to recast American history, to reframe it. In the lead up to 2020, he also allies himself with the Black Lives Matter organization. He says that actually they should be thinking more about political change. In all of their riots in 2020, he sent out curators from I think 6 of the museums to collect the trash they left behind as artifacts. He thinks these are historic artifacts that need to be collected and saved for posterity. The director of the museum right now, Anthea Hardig, she says the National Museum of American History is a tool for social change. Not in it are major exhibits on any of the main founders, George Washington, Jefferson, Hamilton. There's an exhibit on Franklin, and they tell you extensively about the slave that he owned and about how the slaves may have been responsible for his achievements. So what does this museum have? It's got exhibits about how illegal immigrants should be given the right to vote, exhibit for girls that features drag queens, transgenderism, and support for abortion. The museum produces race-based programming and materials. It partners with the Southern Poverty Law Center. Yes, the same SPLC that is being investigated by Congress for committing illegal acts. It calls Christopher Columbus the man who discovers the New World. It calls Columbus a murderer, a slaver, a killer, a thief. The museum has also removed traditional Flag Day celebrations, replaced them with Pride Month programming. The National Museum of American History teaches millions of annual visitors and the people who are reached through the educational material that American history and American heritage are something to be embarrassed about, something to be ashamed of, and that America is structurally oppressive or systemically racist, or both. When you have something that is structurally oppressive or systemically racist, the only logical conclusion is you need to get rid of all the structures and the systems. You need systemic change. And that is what I think the people who have taken over the museum intend to do with it.
There is a term so often used to describe our nation and those who have shaped it: American exceptionalism.
Zohar Mamdani, the mayor of New York, our biggest city, is not a Democrat. This is a man who ran as a Democrat, who calls himself a democratic socialist, who is actually a communist. He says he wants to seize the means of production. He says he wants to seize property from landlords. He says he wants the warm embrace of collectivism for New York. How do we get a man like that? I don't mean to just pick on Mondani, although I do. But I mean also Katie Wilson, the mayor of Seattle, Graham Platner, the self-confessed communist with the Nazi tattoo. How do people vote for this thing? Well, because our institutions have been seized by men and women who actually believe in this Marxist nightmare. Our cultural institutions, whether K through 12, higher ed, or whether the museums, have been captured by this ideology. The Smithsonian has been captured by cultural Marxism.
We are told that America is exceptional because we are richer, stronger, more powerful than everyone else.
Nobody believes that. Nobody who talks seriously about American exceptionalism believes that we're exceptional because of our power and wealth. We believe that we're powerful and wealthy because of the sources of our exceptionalism, and they are really natural rights, which are nowhere to be found in the History Museum, such as life, the right to property, the right to defend himself. These are all natural rights. That's what makes America exceptional. No other country based their legitimacy, their sovereignty, on natural rights. None of them base their institutions and their founding documents on natural rights. Only we do. That's what makes America exceptional. Millions and millions, well over 100 million immigrants from all over the world have flocked to the United States because it's a nation conceived in liberty. Nobody has taught Zohran Mamdani this. It was the job of the Smithsonian and of the college he went to and of the school that he went to. He should have learned why people think, people such as me, that America is exceptional. And because the idea that he has is completely wrong. He's been taught to hate America. The Smithsonian teaches its visitors and the people that it reaches through its educational material that America is ugly and sinful, and that the sins that it committed mean that it lacks legitimacy as a society, as a country. And that is not true. That is not just a lie, it's a vile lie. Luckily, the Trump administration and the people in the Trump administration are very aware that this is a problem that needs to be fixed, and fixed right away, fixed yesterday. Congress needs to get involved. Congress needs to have investigations. The Board of Regents needs to get involved. The Board of Regents needs to clean house at the Smithsonian, put in people who actually care about America and care about history in the telling of all of history, not just a skewed corner of it that goes through an ideological prism. When you go to the Smithsonian, what you see is a lot of kids, a lot of teenagers with young minds that are being formed. This is really unfair to be teaching them this rot about their own country. The American family does not deserve this. Some visitor to the Smithsonian, for which she or he pays for, deserve better than this.